Tell us your names and majors.
Hello, my name is Lynesia Benson. I'm a public policy major here at Georgia State University.
Hi, my name is Gais-Circle and I'm a philosophy major.
So you want to tell us about your poster?
Okay, so today we're going to talk about the circle of life, and the idea is about corpse disposal methods that are used here in Georgia. So there are two primary corpse disposal methods that we use. Cremation and conventional burials. So cremation is the burning of a corpse until only the ashes are left. And here in Georgia, this rate is steadily increasing. According to this chart here, which was projected in 2005, they projected in 2005 that in 2015, the cremation rate will be about 38.8%. However, it's actually at 42% right now. So how does cremation work? First, they remove any parts of the body that are artificial. They remove the fill-ins. If you have a prosthetic leg, all of that is taken out of the body in order to limit the amount of pollutants that are released into the air. So they place the body inside of a combustible container, the casket, and then they place it into the furnace. It's turned up to about 1400 to 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. And after that, those remains are taken out and put into a grinder, because a lot of times we feel that it's completely ashes after that, but we go ahead and grind up those parts. Then we place it into the urn, where it's about 2 to 6 pounds left, depending on the size of the body. So, why is this important? The environmental effects of cremation. It uses non-renewable resources such as fossil fuels. It releases carbon dioxide into the air, which harms the environment. It pollutes the air with carcinogens and volatile acids such as monoxide, nitrogen oxide, sulfur oxide, and hydrogen chloride. Why is this important? Well, this adds to holes in our ozone layer, and it's no myth. This is no myth. It adds to the effects of global warming. And Gais is going to talk to us about conventional burials.
Alright, so conventional burials are the most practical and traditional burials here in the United States, let alone Georgia. What's involved in this type of conventional burial is we use steel and concrete steel vaults, and we use caskets ranging from wood, metals, wood being either maple trees, cherry trees. It depends on what kind of things you use for that. And the steel can be gold, copper, silver, etc. And on top of that, we use embalming fluids. Now with the embalming fluids, we use this chemical called formaldehyde, which we'll soon talk about later. It's very, very toxic. And I'll give you guys a little broader picture of what's going on for conventional burials. Here's the environmental impact of current funeral industry practice in the United States based on the Green Burial Concept Council. So each year, conventional funerals and burial practice in the United States results in the use of 20 million board feet of caskets, which is about 77,000 trees, and enough concrete to create a 2-lane highway stretch from San Francisco to Kansas City. And it's used about 1.6 million tons of reinforced concrete for vaults. And it's enough embalming fluid to fill over 6 Olympic-sized swimming pools. And it's rated, the casket manufacturers are rated on EPA's top list of 50 hazardous material waste producers. Now jumping to the environmental effects of conventional burials, most formally we talk about the formaldehyde, which is the toxic embalming fluid that is used here today. 3 to 6 gallons of formaldehyde is injected inside of an individual corpse. Formaldehyde eventually contaminates the groundwater, and through time it contaminates our agricultural, groundwater, the stuff we use for everyday resources. And the last thing that we focus on is the caskets being non-biodegradable, and how it can cause a lot of pollution underground, and also contaminating our groundwater, and the use of fertilizers, biocides, pesticides, and weeds.
Okay.
So, what key points did y'all learn from this that you didn't know before? Or what did you take away from it? Anything interesting you saw?
Yeah.
Learned?
Yeah, plenty. So before, we didn't know the embalming fluids that was used back then. Back then, they used to use arsenic, and that used to be really, really bad, like extremely bad. Now that they use a different method in formaldehyde after the Civil War, it's still bad, but it's not as bad as arsenic, where it took 30 years to realize for funeral directors that it was really dangerous. So.
Right. One of the most interesting things I learned, because I was aware of the different solutions that they have to this environmental issue, was why they do what they do. So, and this ties in to a bit of the history of it. So the reason that we use embalming fluids, and like he said, we started using arsenic around the time of the Civil War, and they did that because at this point people were no longer dying near their homes and where they usually live. So they were traveling across state lines. They had to send bodies back and forth. In order to do that, they had to figure out a way to embalm the bodies. And what they used for it was arsenic. So I thought that was interesting.
And a little bit of mercury too. But.
Yeah.